It has a bad reputation for corruption. Later this year, 9 officers will go on trial for allegedly protecting a cocaine operation. One officer is accused of hiring a hitman to murder a woman who had filed a complaint against him. And just yesterday, 4 officers were accused of beating up city sanitation workers after one of the workers had asked an officer to move his car.
The New Orleans Police Department had long been troubled.
Which city has the most brutal police department in the United States? Every time the U.S. Department of Justice ranks police departments for brutality, the New Orleans Police Department comes in first.
But this was the year it reached its pinnacle. Officer Len Davis, known on the streets of the Desire Project as RoboCop for his aggressive style. Len Davis orchestrated the cold-blooded murder of a citizen, using his badge not to protect, but to kill. The target was Kim Groves, a 32-year-old mother of 3, who had the courage to file a brutality complaint after witnessing Davis pistol whip a young man in her neighborhood. Davis found out about her complaint after the department's internal affairs leaked it to him within hours, and the officer's response was pure evil. He contacted his friend Paul "Cool" Hardy and put a hit out on Groves. On the night of October 13th, 1994, Hardy ambushed Kim Groves on a street corner near her home in the 9th Ward. As she begged for her life, reportedly offering her attacker her jacket, thinking it was a robbery, Hardy shot her once in the head. Even in a city unfazed by violence, the murder of Kim Groves by a policeman was a seismic shock. Len Davis's utter lack of remorse made it even more chilling. He would be sentenced to death, later commuted to life, for what many call the most egregious act of police corruption. But Len Davis wasn't the only cop turned criminal in New Orleans. Officer David Singleton, an 18-year NOPD veteran, was secretly working as a lieutenant for drug kingpin Richard Pena. Singleton used his badge to kidnap Pena's rivals, delivering them to be tortured and murdered. In one case, he pulled over a dealer, cuffed him, and handed him straight to Pena's crew. The man was never seen alive again. As 1994 drew to a close, New Orleanians could only look around at a city soaked in blood and wonder if anything could pull their home back from the brink, as it seemed cops and robbers were one and the same. The crisis could no longer be ignored by leaders or citizens. City Hall was under pressure to act decisively against both crime and police corruption. In that pivotal year, New Orleans inaugurated a new mayor, Marc Morial, who ran on a promise to clean up the streets. Morial, the 36-year-old son of a former mayor, took office in May 1994 to a city desperate for change. He immediately unveiled a highly touted anti-crime plan, declaring war on the murder epidemic. One of his first moves was imposing a strict juvenile curfew. Many residents of the housing projects applauded the curfew, anything to keep the young ones from becoming either victims or perpetrators of nighttime violence. But meaningful change required more than curfews. As the Deseret News reported that summer, New Orleans public housing was so troubled, it had been on the federal distressed projects list for years. Politically, the stakes were high. New Orleans' murder rate had become a national embarrassment. Tourists still flocked to the French Quarter and Mardi Gras in '94, but the shadow of danger loomed. The national media dubbed New Orleans a city of death, and local businesses worried that conventions and visitors would dry up if the carnage continued. President Clinton's signing of the 1994 crime bill, the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act, was partly driven by high-profile cases like that of little James Darby Jr. James Darby Jr. was a 9-year-old New Orleans boy whose tragic death became a national symbol of the city's violence in 1994. Just days before he was killed, James wrote a heartfelt letter to President Bill Clinton, pleading for help to stop the people from dying in his neighborhood. On Mother's Day, 1994, James was struck and killed in a drive-by shooting while standing outside with family. His letter was later held up by President Clinton as undeniable evidence of how deeply the murder crisis was wounding New Orleans children. Clinton came to New Orleans calling for tougher laws, but on the ground, everyone knew statutes meant nothing if the cops were crooked. Mayor Marc Morial made fixing the department his first order of business. In October 1994, he brought in Richard Pennington, a straight arrow from D.C., to take the helm of a force described as in turmoil.
Most citizens are afraid. That's why they don't call us, because they feel if they call us, we're not going to do anything to protect them.
The symbolism was brutal. The very day Pennington was sworn in, Officer Len Davis was arranging the murder of Kim Groves. An FBI agent pulled Pennington aside after the ceremony with a quiet warning. The rot was deep, and it was inside the badge. Pennington didn't need convincing. House cleaning was job one.
Under the new chief, the department is working to become more professional. A pay raise is in the works. The FBI helped set up a new internal affairs division. And the FBI is also training additional homicide detectives. The city will need them.
Pennington drove out dirty officers by the dozen, disciplined hundreds more, and set up a no-nonsense public integrity division. Working with Morial, he pushed pay upward to blunt the lure of drug money, then put cops back on foot in the roughest corridors. The effect came fast. After 1994's carnage, killings fell sharply in 1995. Citywide homicides dropped in the first half of the year, and in the Big Three projects, only 4 murders were recorded in 6 months, down from 52 the year before. For the first time in years, parents could risk the corner store without calculating lines of fire. The ghosts didn't vanish, though. Poverty and narcotics were ever present, and trust bled back slowly. But by 1998, the murder count had been nearly cut in half from the 1994 peak, and Pennington was lionized as a reformer who turned a death spiral. Looking back, 1994 reads like a city in chaos. Mothers still walked their children to school, telling them to duck if the shots rang. Activists kept vigil on corners, and a 9-year-old's plea to stop the killing hung in the air like a prayer. By year's end, the city had chosen to fight for itself, and it did.